This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, all. So yesterday we have discussed about picking rule. Let me update the setups. Now create an item and enable inventory controls like revision controls. Meaning it is not mandatory. If you wanted to define picking rules based on only sub inventories, we can also define based on sub inventories. This is lots. Now create picking order for sub inventory and locator. Miscellaneous transactions. Create picking rules. Assign picking rules to the items. Create move order transactions and approve. Allocate once you allocate this, it is going to allocate based on our picking rules. Allocate move order transactions and generate pick slip report. And finally, transact orders. So this is all about your picking rules. Now today we'll discuss about unit of measures. What is this unit of measures is, say the different items which we are going to stock in our inventory are going to be measured with different unit of measures. Like some items we are going to measure in weight, that is kgs. Some items we are going to measure in volume, that is capacity. Some items we are going to measure in length, that is meters, centimeters, and all. So the unit of measures are going to be different from one item to another item. Say, for example, we have a weight class. Now, what are the unit of measures of this weight class? Kilograms, grams, quintals, tons, kilograms, grams, quintals, tons, pounds, and many more. Now here there are, say here, when I'm going to create an item, for every item we need to assign unit of measures. That unit of measures is called as primary unit of measures, meaning at the time of creating the item, whatever the unit of measures that we assign, that we call it as primary unit of measures. Now when I'm going to create a transaction, here also I'm going to enter the unit of measures. This is called as transaction unit of measures. So sometimes the transaction unit of measures can be different from your primary unit of measures, but always the stock is going to get updated into my primary unit of measures. Say for example, while creating an item 1, I have assigned some kg as my unit of measures. But while creating a transaction for this item, I can create a transaction in quintal or in grams. But what should happen is this quintal should convert into my kgs. But meaning always the stock is going to get updated. This is my primary unit of measures. This is my transaction unit of measures. So we can create transactions in the same unit of measures, or we can also create the transactions in other unit of measures. Now this quintal should convert into kgs. So we are going to provide the conversions like 1 quintal into 100 kgs. Like here for this particular class, if you have 10 unit of measures, can you tell me how many conversions we have to give here? If you have 10 unit of measures, how many conversions we have to provide here? So we have to provide kilograms to remaining all 9 unit of measures, grams to remaining all the unit of measures, quintals to remaining all unit of measures, tons to remaining all unit of measures. That way we have to provide the conversions. But if that is the case, we have to, if you have 10 unit of measures, it is 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus, like this, so many number of conversions we have to provide. So generally in applications, what we do is at the time of creating the class, weight is, mass is one class, length is another class, capacity is another class, quantity is another class. Meaning again, if you see other items like computers are going to be measured in bytes, and camera is going to be measured in pixels. Like the unit of measures are going to be different from different items. So if you have 10 unit of measures, at the time of creating our unit of measure class, we'll decide any one of these unit of measures as my base unit of measures. Meaning we are going to create the class with base unit of measures. Meaning here, my assumption here is while creating this class, I have created kilograms as my base unit of measures. Kilograms as my base unit of measures. So if you have 10 unit of measures, all these unit of measures we have to provide conversions to my base unit of measures, like grams to kgs, quintals to kgs, tons to kgs, pounds to kgs, and all the other unit of measures to base unit of measures. Meaning we always define conversions to our base unit of measures. This base unit of measures is created at the time of creating the class itself. So total we have how many unit of measures here? So at the time of creating the class, the unit of measures which is created is base unit of measures. And while creating an item, that is called as your primary unit of measures. And when I'm going to create a transaction, that is called as your transaction unit of measures. Now, for example, for this particular item, I'm going to provide QT, that is quintal, as my base unit of measures. Sorry, quintal as my primary unit of measures. But here I'm going to create a transactions in tons. But if you see here, we have provided the conversions like from all the other unit of measures to kgs, but we don't have direct conversion between quintal and tons. Then how it is going to convert these tons into quintal is, so whenever we are going to create a transactions with different unit of measures, first we'll convert transaction unit of measures to base unit of, first we'll convert transaction unit of measures to base unit of measures, then later we'll convert base unit of measures to primary unit of measures. So first we'll, meaning this transaction unit of measures will convert into kgs, meaning say for example I have created a transaction for 1 ton. Maybe you have given the conversion as here 1 quintal is equal to 1 gram is equal to 1 kg is equal to 1 kg. This is 1 kg, and 1 gram is equal to how many kgs? 1 gram is equal to 0.001 kgs, meaning we are going to always define the conversions to our base unit of measures. 1 quintal is equal to how many kgs? 100 kgs. 1 ton is equal to 1000 kgs. Pound is approximately around 888 some change. I'm not sure about it, but pounds also will be calculated. So we have provided all the unit of measure to what? These conversions. So in this case, how it is going to convert tons into kgs is, say we have created a transaction in tons, that is 1 kg. So 1 kg is equal to, sorry, 1 ton is equal to how many kgs here? 1000 kgs. And first we'll convert transaction unit of measures to base unit of measures. That is, it will convert tons to base unit of measures, and later will convert base unit of measures to my primary unit of measures. So 1000 kgs is equal to how many quintals here? 10, meaning 1000 kgs is equal to how many quintals here? It is 10, sorry, 1000 kgs is equal to 10 quintal. But since it is not, meaning we don't have provided direct conversion from tons to quintal, tons will convert into base unit of measures, base unit of measures will convert into my primary unit of measures. Am I clear on this point?
Yes, sir.
Now we'll see the practical orientation. So here, now I'm first going to create a unit of measure class. So go to inventory. GSS some organization. Here, go to setup, unit of measures. First, you create your class. So at the time of creating the class itself, we are going to create our unit of measures. So let me show you some existing classes. This is we have weight class. That is the default base unit is they have provided as forms, and here these are all my other unit of measures: 100 weight, grams, kilograms, pounds, tons, and here these are the conversions here. This is actually tons, 100. This is grams. This is kilograms.
So these are standard, or we need to define ourselves?
No, this is all standard. This is all standard.
I'm not saying each.
Each is not this class, right? Each is different class. That is going to come under which class? Quantity class. This is a quantity class, and these are the unit of measures: bag, book, box of 5, carton, card, case of 10, case of 1000, case of 12, case of. This is all on quantity: dozen, cycle, each. Right. Now let me just create, meaning here we have area. This is another class. These are the unit of measures of what? Square foot, square inch, square kilometer, square meter, square mile, square yard. Like this, these are all my unit of measures of area. Now I'll just take the example of by creating a new class, that is weight class, that is GSS. Now this is only for demonstrating weight class. Weight class, and base unit is GEGSS. Okay, GKG. GKG is already there. Now I'll just use some other. Okay, EKG. This is just to understand EKG. Okay. Meaning I just prefixed some E here, EKG. This is a new class which I have created for weight, and this is the base unit of measures. Now we are going to define other unit of measures for this particular class. So what are the other unit of measures of this class is? Just click on unit of measures, and here you create. Already the base unit is created, that is EGM, meaning my assumption here is grams. This is EQT, that is tons. E tons. See, this kg is created at the time of creating my unit of measures. Now we define our conversions. So conversions again are classified into three types: standard conversions, intra-class conversions, and inter-class conversions. Now first we are going to discuss about standard conversions. Standard conversions meaning by default these standard conversions are applicable for all the items. Like 1 kg is equal to 1 kg. 1 gram is equal to how many kgs? 0.001 kg. That is 1 by 1000. 1 by 1000. 1 gram is equal to 1.001 kg, and 1 quintal is equal to, meaning we are always going to provide conversions to our base unit of measures. 1 ton is equal to 1000 kgs, and 1 quintal is equal to how many kgs? 100 kgs. So this is my conversions here. Say sometimes even meaning these conversions depends on your inventory organization. So we may call it as what? A bag, meaning according to your bag, a bag is 25 kgs. Meaning again you can say that a pack of 10 kgs. Meaning like this you can define your own conversions here. Right. Now these are the standard conversions. So what we have done here is, so as a part of this setup, create unit of class with base unit. Create unit of measures. So as a part of these conversions, we have created standard conversions by default are applicable all the items. By default are applicable for all the items. So here to test this, I'm going to create an item. Create an item and enable required attributes. Just so to create an item, items, master items, master items, and here this is what is that item? This is GGSS UOM, okay. Standard UOM item. Here in main tab, this is your unit of measures. The whatever the unit of measures that we assign here, we call this as primary unit of measures. So here I'm going to change my primary unit of measures to say for example QT, quintals. Meaning for this particular item, my primary unit of measures is quintal, meaning always the stock will be shown in my primary unit of measures. Along with this, I'll also assign some template here. Tools, copy from finished goods. Done. Save this. Now I'm going to create transactions for this item. Oh, here transactions, miscellaneous transactions. This is miscellaneous receipt. Click on transaction lines. This is GEGSS standard unit of measures, some sub inventory. So here by default it is going to show you which unit of measures, primary unit of measures, but you still have an option to change. Meaning it is going to show, because this quintal belongs to which class here? Quintal belongs to weight class, so it is going to show all the other unit of measures which belongs to that particular class. Now I'm going to create a transaction in tons. So what is my primary unit of measures? Is quintal, but I'm creating transactions in tons. Say for example 2 tons. Now 2 tons, what will be the stock position in my inventory now? I've created a transaction for 2 tons. When I report my on-hand quantity, it is going to show how much quantity available in my inventory. So we have created a transaction in tons. How much?
20 quintals.
20. So go to on-hand availability, on-hand quantity, and here search for your item, that is GGSS standard unit of measures. Click on find GGSS master. Here you can see that it is always going to update the on-hand quantity in my primary unit of measures, that is 20. Okay, this is standard conversions, but for some items, like if you take the example of our oil pouches or biscuit packets or any food items,